Welcome everyone, my name is Aaberg. I'm a brand ambassador here at Evil Geniuses, a part of the Genius League. Tonight I will be doing my first ever interactive workshop in a series I call Growing Your Esports Program on a Student Budget. In this workshop, we'll be going over brand, socials, and program identity. Great stuff. So throughout this, feel free to literally just unmute. This is more designed for a casual conversation, you guys to ask questions. And then if you guys have any work, I'll also be watching the networking voice text channel. So if you can't use your mic or you don't want to, unmute, you can also use the voice text channel that's just above a few channels in here. Again, this is more of a casual conversation. You guys can, be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this graphic, etc. So yeah, welcome. If I talk too fast or if you didn't hear anything I said or if I speak my mic, feel free to just be like, hey, can you repeat that? So yeah, let's get into this. Basically, this is what we're going to be going over. So learning the fundamentals of establishing your program's digital identity, your brand, your social media accounts, things like that. I also threw in a few extra things and whatnot. So again, feel free to ask questions. Starting it off, my name is Aaberg. I'm a brand ambassador here at Evil Geniuses. I am also the student director of Esports at the University of Texas at Dallas. I got to join that program right when it started. So right when I became a freshman, I applied and I was like, oh, I've never done esports before, but let me give a shot at this. And I was able to take the skills that I've already learned and apply it to grow the program in what it is today, which landed me the internship here at EG. So super awesome stuff. I'm a social media manager, photographer, graphic designer. My favorite games, and this is kind of funny, is currently Valheim, and then I also love Minecraft and Skyrim, but Valheim is kind of like a mixture of those two games. So now you know a little bit about me and my credibility. We'll kind of dive in. So chapter 1, establishing your brand. What is a brand? Well, we're going to be going over what is your program known as on the internet. And this is going to go over your digital identity. This is going to go over your brand and voice. What do your tweets sound like? What's the personality, the vibes that you give off? Essentially, this is going to be super important when you guys start out, or if you've already started out and you don't really have a centralized voice, a centralized, image and things like that. This is going to be perfect for you to, be like, okay, let's reflect. Do we want to go more on this route? Do we want to go with this? Working, I actually tweeted out earlier today, it was something about a tweet. It was like, make a creative mad in 5 words. And I was like, in quotations, your school colors are ugly. Yeah, I can't change my school colors. I'm sorry. That's the one thing we can't change. So basically, working with your school colors, working with your university and things like that to establish your brand for your esports program. So let's dive into that. The bigger idea. Why is creating a brand so important? Why should I, focus on this? Well, think about it. Create a brand, then you get to grow that brand. You get to land those sponsorships, you get to land those partners, you get to land those cool packages and profit. I mean, you land a sponsor that, wants to give you peripherals or build your gaming campus or your gaming arena on campus, or... Either way, you're not on push to talk. There you go. No worries. Welcome everyone that has just chilled in. We've kind of just started. But feel free to ask questions, ask me to repeat myself if you didn't hear me or if I talk too fast. So we're talking about the bigger idea, again, creating your brand, landing those sponsorships or invites to leagues, and then profit. You could, win a national championship title because you got invited to an invitational, or you get a cool gaming room on campus, or you even just get a cool free hoodie or a sweatshirt from a brand doing this cool stuff. So that is why basically it is important. Recognize where your program is. So we're going to start off and, again, your program could be established for a few years. It could be you're the first wave and iteration of officers. It doesn't matter. When you're, coming at it on a perspective of establishing your brand, you have to recognize where does your program fall currently, because it really varies in the collegiate esports scene. So moving forward, with your esports program's brand and voice, you have to ask yourself, where do you guys fit in? Are you a student organization and club? Are you a recreational sports, so university recreation? Are you part of the intercollegiate athletics department? Or are you in university department? You know, there's probably a lot more ways that I haven't even heard of that an esports program can be integrated in their university, because there is no fine line of how you have to do it. Why is this important? Well, of course, before going forward, you have to make sure you're abiding by your university's brand guidelines. So, you know, using the correct colors if you want. Not if you want, I mean, you have to. If you're allowed to use the correct logos, or if you have to, you know, follow certain typography and things like that. So, you know, it's really important to establishing that stuff first and recognizing that before you put in all the work in creating your really cool, like, logo or your jerseys, and then your university's like, no. Because they will. They will say no, and if a jersey company is told no by a university, they have to follow that. Any questions so far? And then let me check the networking voice chat. Okay, cool. Awesome. Moving forward. So creating a consistent voice. So once you've established, you know, where your program is, you need to start thinking about how does your program sound on the internet? A consistent branded voice is really key, especially when growing your program, because what do you want to be known by? Think about it like this. Think about, you know, crafting your own, I guess if it's your school mascot, or crafting basically a fictional character, reading your tweets out loud. What would the tone of voice be? What would his personality be? Is it someone that's cocky? Is it someone that's, you know, mischievous, a mystery? It is so much more than just words on a tweet. It is how you word things. It's how you respond to winning. It's how you respond to losing. You know, it's all about that. So ask yourself a few questions. What do you want your program to be known as or by? What kind of personality will you be tying to your program? And what would your tweets sound like if they were spoken out loud? So you kind of see those cool videos of, I guess, celebrities reading tweets out loud. So think of it like that, you know, is this, and also this is good to also double think when you're tweeting something. It's like, okay, does this align with my brand voice? Is it worth, you know, sacrificing the risks of tweeting this really funny meme, or, you know, something that could be interpreted wrong, or something that just doesn't even align with your program? And you're like, did some random person come on? So it's so important establishing this early, especially when you transition and someone takes your place, or, you know, as the program gets older, because establishing this sooner, the better.
Sorry, about the establishing your voice, do you have any, like, accounts that you think does this really well, or, like, any examples you can give us?
Yeah, in the pro scene, I absolutely love Evil Geniuses. Well, I'm a little bit biased, but a little bit biased. Sorry, I was gonna say another team, but I had to say our team first. I'll say a few more. Why?
Yeah.
Well, first you hear Evil Geniuses, and if you've never, you know, heard of what esports is, you're like, evil? Why? We have the tagline "Live Evil," and essentially our definition of evil is epic. It's, you know, doing something that's breaking the traditional norm. So, you know, whether that's, you know, always scheming, doing the cool, like, thinking, evil thinking mastermind pose and pictures and things like that. Or when it's, you know, replying, we have that little smiling, I don't think it's the devil emoji, but it's the devil emoji, you know. But it's really, I would say Evil Geniuses does a good job. I also will say Dallas Empire, if you watch the COD League, does pretty good job too. I really love how they hold themselves high, because they won the last national championship title in the championship series in the first COD, I guess, season. So they hold themselves high, but, you know, they focus on practicing. They focus at the game, and I really love that. So really, it's what you guys can do now is, if you haven't noticed what other organizations do, you can pick one of your favorite teams. They could, you know, it really could be even outside of esports, because this definitely implies to, you won't see Microsoft's main Microsoft Twitter account tweeting really weird memes, because that's not their audience. But you'll see the Xbox account definitely sparking up some beef with maybe Wendy's or things like that. Or think of the Wendy's Twitter account. They create like a national holiday on like National Roast Day or something like that, just because they're so funny. Like, it's really about creating what do our tweets sound like, and that's basically what your brand voice is. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, moving forward. So this is so important. I have OCD, so and this also helps. Get your social media handles early, please. Getting the same consistent username on every single social media platform is sometimes overlooked because you'll, create, you have your program come out or you have a game come out, they'll create a Twitter, and then that game becomes popular, some fan page takes that username, or that username is taken on other platforms, and then you have to go the route of, creating different usernames on different platforms. Well, it's not the end of the world, and a lot of brands do have this happen. It is very important, if you can, to get your consistent username. Same with domain, it's just good practice. So it really helps you stand out, especially if your name might be common, especially with your tag, like just having esports in it. It might get mixed up with, another gaming club on campus. It might get mixed up with another school that has the same abbreviation. So it's really important to trying to get the same consistent username on all platforms. I'm pretty sure, I'll say on myself, I have Eric Tigerar on every single platform just because I knew that at an early age. So it's good practice for your program, even personal branding. So a good example would be Genius Gaming GG on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Bad example is Genius Gaming GG on Twitter, genius.gaming_GG on Instagram. That's just weird. Also, I would stay away from underscores just because I don't like them. Some platforms don't accept underscores. I know Xbox doesn't. I know Facebook doesn't. It's weird. And then Instagram, I think, is the only one that has dots. It just gets weird. So I typically try to stay away from numbers unless your actual name has numbers in it. Stay away from underscores because someone could just take the non-underscore version, and stay away from dots. And then Genius 12 Gaming on Facebook. Like, what? Like, all of these just don't make sense. So if you can, try to get your username consistent at the beginning. And if, say, I guess, Genius Gaming itself was taken, we'll go with Genius Gaming GG, or we'll be like the Genius Gaming. So, add a prefix or add a suffix if you can, because maybe a more common username might be taken because there's millions of people on these platforms, and adding a suffix or prefix to the actual username to have that consistent handle would be really good. And then think about it, if you're making marketing graphics and flyers, you want to just be able to be like, hey, we're just at Genius Gaming GG on all social media platforms, rather than like, oh, we're this on Twitter, we're this on Instagram, we're this on TikTok, we're this on Discord. So think of it from that perspective. I'm seeing a few more people tagging in. Feel free to ask any questions. This is super interactive. It's more of a casual conversation. Yeah. And then if you don't feel like you want to use... Oh, sorry. I just noticed. No love for underscores. I'm sorry. If you have an underscore in your name, that is literally totally fine. It's just personal preference. Just because I know, like, Xbox and Facebook are weird with underscores. I think Facebook actually redirects names like the underscore genius to just the genius, so it's technically fine, but you just have to be careful of limits on character limit on different platforms because it varies, and like Instagram is 32 characters and Twitter is like 15, and just from special characters. So creating your own image, does that mean? I mean, think about it. Twitter and social media, especially in the esports industry, are not just words. It is so much more than that. You may see, other industries, and I'm not going to even name names, but you may see, like, I don't know, for example, your school, and I won't even say that, but maybe you'll see other departments at your school. They won't pay attention to putting so much focus on the graphic content, the actual image, the actual content itself. In the esports industry, I honestly think content is so much more of a focus than the traditional sports industry and so many other industries, just because, especially during COVID and these remote times, but in general, video games they're all virtual. So creating that type of content to draw an audience, to make your account, super engaging and attractive, to getting more followers, and, something that's of interest of partners and companies and things like that is so important. So creating your own image is super crucial. Now, what does that mean? Well, you'll be wanting to spend some time creating your own program's image, and think of it like this. What are you guys actually, like, known for, or what is something that you like? Think of like another team, think of a current esports team or your school right now. When you think of your school, or you think of the name, or you think of the colors, or you think of the mascot, or you think of, the buildings. So it's really that imagery that is going to really be associated with that your account. So for example, if you have a graphic designer, or if not, I'll kind of be going over some good ways for you guys to be able to create your image. Again, I'm not saying that you have to be a professional, because I could not make images for the life of me. I could not be making graphics for the life of me 5 years ago, but here I am now helping create our image and graphics and cool things like that, because it's a lot easier than you think. So for UTD, we have the school colors, green and orange. I don't really like how they go together, so recently we actually took out green, and we just use this gray, white, and orange. I think it looks good, but it's really about creating that consistent look. I reached out on Twitter, had some awesome people submit me in some great graphics. So team on the left, as you can see, they have that consistent color look, essentially that dark black, not complete black, but dark black gray with that purple, which is great. And then the team on the right, I love the green. I love, I guess, this beige, not a yellow, but a beige color. Great stuff. When I look at them, I can easily say, okay, team on the left is completely different from team on the right. You just want to have the same colors. You want to use the same typography, things like that. So if someone can pull one tweet from your account, they're able to tell, oh, that is that team. They're able to recognize your logo during a tournament. And more importantly, brands and, your school or other companies that are wanting to invest in your company, or say a potential student or prospective student is wanting to, go to college for esports. They want to be able to pick out your team and have your team stand out. So that way they can identify your team. Any questions on that? I know I talk really fast, sorry. Okay, we'll move forward. Again, feel free to interrupt me. Tools for creating graphics. You do not have to be using Adobe Suite. I use Canva for literally everything. People think Canva is the most basic of the basic. This thing's in Canva. This presentations in Canva. I use Canva for literally everything for the esports program. Obviously, if you're creating a logo or something like that, you'll want to use Illustrator, but you do not have to be under this impression that a lot of people are under, that you have to have the Adobe Suite. You have to, and that costs a lot of money. Canva, free. And it's also cloud-based, so it works on your phone. It syncs across computers. You can have one single sign-in. It's great. I love it. I'm not going to say you have to use Canva. I'm just saying this is from my experience, and this is why I'm able to create things really quickly, because you have to think about it. Your time is valuable as a student. Your time is valuable as an individual. If you think hey, using Canva is a lot quicker and it gives us good graphics, why not use it? And it requires less time. I'm able to create that motion graphic that I dropped in networking voice chat in 5 minutes using Canva, because I've been using it for years and I know how to, use it to its potential, versus I have no idea how to use Illustrator to the certain extent that, our full-time designers do at EG. So, basically, do your research. There's tons of free alternatives out there than just Adobe. Don't think that you have to pay so much money, for these tools. You don't. For everyone trailing in, welcome. Feel free to interrupt me, unmute, ask me questions, or you can use the networking text voice channel if you don't want to unmute. But yeah, you, again, if you're a graphic designer, you're paid for what you do, not the tools that you use. And I think that is so important. Again, I use Canva for everything, unless it is something that I need to generate textures or something that's very, very extreme. This is just an example of, my job isn't creating graphics here at EG, but I love creating graphics. So I create I guess, animated graphic with music in there. I was able to, create my own schedule, things like that. It really has so much potential. And just because you may think of it just for those really basic templates, don't shoot it down. Don't judge a book by its cover. It literally has so many benefits. They have fantastic support. I actually DM them all the time on Twitter and be like, hey, can you add this? Also, if you technically work for your university, you can qualify for the teacher free premium upgrade. So there you go. Does a lot more on the discount side than Adobe. But again, I'm not saying Adobe is bad. It's great. Premiere Pro crashes on me all the time. No, I'm kidding. It's fantastic because it's very, I would say, detailed. It's got so many robust features. But when we're talking about growing your program on a student budget, maybe you have to consider these alternatives. Social media is so much more than you just using it individually or using it before you entered the esports scene, because it is not where you're just like, using it like Instagram or, just tweeting game updates. It's about interaction. Social media is literally, especially Twitter too, is where in the collegiate esports scene, in the professional esports and gaming industry, where brands, personalities, and individuals connect. It's where you're able, it's honestly the Google of, I guess, esports in a sense, kind of to a point, because you're able to discover brands on your timeline. You're able to search for esports teams. You're able to look at lists or trending topics, things like that. Not only is, putting attention to social media and, having a focus, putting in all this time for social media is going to benefit your program and team, but your athletes, your team members will also benefit by also interacting with your program account, with interacting with other people, because you never know. If you are active on Twitter and you're associated your own personal account also with your esports program, you never know if you're going to be invited to, have an interview with a dream employer. You'll never know if you, get an invite out to a LAN or even to an esports team's HQ. I've had that happen my freshman year, and I literally got a DM from a local esports team. And they're like, hey, we would love to invite you and this other person in your esports program out to come tour our HQ for a live event. And I was like, what? That is so cool. It's literally a dream come true. There's so much potential in social media. I'm not saying you have to use it every day, but even just having a Twitter account and interacting with and associating yourself with your program, because your program is going to have all these achievements. You also want to tag along with that because you're putting in the work for that. So yeah, think of it also kind of like LinkedIn in a sense, because your employers are always watching Twitter. They're always, at least in the esports scene, always watching, cool individuals in the collegiate scene, because they're scouting as well. Just like we're scouting for potential sponsors, potential students to come to our school and whatnot. They're also scouting for future employers, future opportunities to partner and collaborate as well. So now that we know how, what is a brand and identity and why we should start doing social media for our program, if you never did, we're going to be talking about growing your brand and name. So essentially in this chapter, we're going to be covering some good habits for you to adopt for growing your social media presence and your overall program name in the collegiate esports scene. During this chapter, start thinking of what you're currently doing right now, whether that's you or another social media manager of your team, and how that compares to some of the ideas and tips that are presented here. Then start critically thinking, and feel free to ask me these critical questions, because I'd love to, answer them, on what you can do to improve, because there is always room for improvement. There is no org out there that, maybe you think X org, and I'm not going to list names because they'll be taken out of context, but X org, has a perfect social media feed. Yes, but there's always room for improvement. Why? Because games are being developed. New things are always happening in the esports scene. And what I like to think about it is the esports scene and the gaming industry are really growing at a pace in dog years. You miss 1 month of I don't know, anything happening in the world of esports and the gaming scene, it's 7 months. So you always want to stay up to date. You always want to be improving what you have. Welcome everyone. To anyone else that just joined, feel free to unmute, ask me questions. You can literally interrupt me. If there's something that you didn't hear, or if I cut out, feel free to be like, hey, what did you say? Right now we're diving into chapter 2, and that is growing your brand and name. So let's talk about a content calendar after I grab a sip of water. Do I have any questions so far?
How would you suggest about you stress the importance of staying on top of the content and whatnot? How would you suggest going about that? Just making sure you check it every day, or how do you keep up with the content that is constantly coming out on like Twitter and whatnot?
Yeah, I think that comes with, developing a good balance of social media. Whether you're the social media manager or you're just doing it from your account or your program's account, really just putting it in your daily life or weekly life. You don't have to check it every single day, but it's good too because we're going to be talking about, scheduling out content and whatnot. But I think it's really integrating it with your schedule. Say I'm on Twitter for an hour. What does that mean? Maybe for 10 minutes, I'm exploring new trending topics. Or maybe for another 10 minutes, there's like lists out there with every single Collegiate Esports Twitter account attached to that list. So you can literally look at a dedicated feed of what are esports programs doing. It's really about being proactive, seeing articles that may be happening about a new game or, a new patch for one of your competitive games. It's really utilizing the platform, but maybe less as like you would normally be casually on Twitter, but more of like, okay, like what's new, what is going on. So I would say for me, I have literally a Google Calendar to the hour of my entire day. So, like for example, I wake up at 7, go to the gym for a bit, and then when I come back while I'm eating breakfast, I'll open Twitter and see what's new, what is going on. And I'll check it from my personal feed, I'll check it from our program's feed. And essentially by doing that, you'll kind of stay in the loop of things. And again, as things pop up throughout the day, feel free to check it out. Maybe something's trending. Maybe, I don't know, if Discord goes down, everyone's going to go to Twitter and start getting that going viral and whatnot. So it's really about integrating it in a healthy balance into your daily or weekly life. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Perfect.
Eric, I also have a question just concerning having like the voice interacting with people on the timeline, because we're kind of getting into that. I find it difficult to do that without potentially crossing red tape with upper faculty who aren't as privy to how, and I hate to say this, but how like gamers interact with one another online.
Yeah.
So like it's very odd for them if we want to like retweet or share a meme or interact in like some goofy way. Is there like a suggestion you might have for better doing that, or maybe even convincing people who aren't as knowledgeable about the field, but that we obviously are within their jurisdiction, so we must follow their rules?
For sure. I think you bring up an excellent point, and that is that every university is going to have different guidelines on, hey, you can tweet this, or hey, you can't do this. I think what would be good is, say you have a specific meme going around, you're like, hey, I need approval for this. Explain to them, like, there is no bad way for you to be able to interpret this. Because the reason they're going to probably say no is because they don't want to have accountability for the university or on the esports program or on the individual. So, being like, hey, like, look, all these other brands are doing this and they have, this type of tone. I mean, if it's something that's, like smirky or something that's, mischievous, and they're like, no, we can't, like, be promoting things that, are bad. Be like, well, look, this professional org or this organization or this team on Twitter is, having that same thing. It's not in a bad way. It's really like, hey, this is kind of how like gamers talk. This is how casual conversation goes. I think, showing them that and you being like, hey, like this is how we talk, because it is a different, like you said, it is a completely different generation. It's a completely different zone of like, just even in esports, how we talk. So maybe they don't even know what a word means. So be like, hey, like sheesh, like that is a new word or a term that's going around, and they were like, what does that mean? Is that, and so I think just explaining that to them, don't be afraid of those conversations. I think the more that you act confident in what you're saying, you establish your credibility. Be like, look, I'm on Twitter all the time. Like I have doing this for my personal brand, or I've done this before, like, and this has been good. This has gotten a good interaction, and this is the potential that we can grow our following or grow the attendance for student life events on campus. I think, establishing your credibility and having those conversations frequently are more so going to, have them open up more for allowing you to do more things. And again, if you're, sending approval to one person, you should always try to send approval to other people in your program if you can, or other people that have access to the Twitter account, just in case, that's covering yourself. In case you misspell something, trust me, misspellings are a big thing. I had the vice president email down because I misspelled athletics in a graphic, and I knew it was misspelled, but I was on the road and I was like, look, we gotta tweet this out. Is it going out or not? So, you know, hey, like, you live and you learn. I still have access to the Twitter. That was freshman year. And if a mistake happens, own up to it. And I literally said, look, I was on the road. You wanted this out. It did good. No one recognized it. Just you guys. And, you know, mistakes happen. But try to avoid those mistakes by having other people look at it and have those conversations with university administration. Like, hey, like, this is what we're doing. This is what's happening. This is what that means. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Any other questions? Cool. Well, we'll move on. I saw more people join. So again, as always, feel free to unmute, talk in the networking voice chat. You can literally interrupt me, or if I skip over something or anything happens, feel free to let me know. So we're diving into chapter 2 about growing your brand, growing your social media presence, and what are some good habits. So let's talk about a content calendar. For the longest of times, I definitely didn't use a content calendar, but it definitely helps. And you don't have to, you know, be super strict about it. And, you know, what is a content calendar? Well, like you may use a digital calendar or a print calendar for scheduling your work shifts, your college classes, assignments, things like that. It is kind of the same concept so that you don't forget to check your social media. I mean, honestly, I literally may go a day without, you know, obviously tweeting from my personal account, but there may be days where I totally forget, like, holy crap, Instagram Reels exists or Twitter Fleets exists. So having a content calendar can help you, you know, remember to post things, stay active on specific channels. Look, we don't even touch Facebook, I'm gonna be honest, but there's ways that you can still get content out there without putting in so much effort for that. So content calendars, it is literally a calendar, as it says, as the name says, a calendar for your content for your social media channels. It is not as maybe big as you think it has to be. It's pretty simple, honestly. So you do not need to pay for a premium service for a content calendar, because we're students and we're already paying so much money for tuition. We're not going to be paying that much money for a content calendar. That's I mean, if you got the money, great. But again, this series is about growing esports programs on a student budget. So instead, what you can use is a shared Google spreadsheet with you and your team. Bonus points. If you are using Google Drive, great. If not, consider it, or consider whatever drive you do. Maybe some schools restrict wherever your data is, but having things organized, especially when your term is over with your program, is really crucial. So what is a content calendar? Well, here we go, and let's dive into it. Also, now that I mentioned Google Sheets and this, we will be providing very soon a cool downloadable content page on our website, and what also is going to be included with that is a template for a social media content calendar designed just for esports programs, so stay tuned on that. So this is literally a super basic template, as you can see. No, this is not what we actually use, but you can find tons of templates right now if you don't want to wait on Google or whatever. So as you can see, it's a Google spreadsheet, which is basically Excel, but I like it better. Anyways, basically I and other people that I share it with can access this, and it's literally super simple. As you can see, we have the day of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're posting on weekends, probably are, because, you know, esports is not a 9-to-5 scene. It is, there's things happening all the time. All the time. So basically with the content calendar, you're able to remember, hey, look, we do have a LinkedIn page. Currently having an identity crisis on changing my names on socials. No, I'm so sorry. When I had, I think, that same conversation a long time ago, I literally, that was me too. So no worries, but hey, look, practicing good stuff. Feel free to, you know, take my advice with a grain of salt. If it's something that you love, having different socials or breaking up, you know, I mean, for example, Eric Tiger Art, that is literally my LinkedIn username. Someone, all the time in high school, people were like, that is such a childish username. no, buddy, I'm going into esports, I'm going into gaming, this is what we do. And it's about educating other people sometimes, because they may not have the same perspective as you. And that kind of goes back to someone's question before about, university administration not knowing a term. It's, hey, like, look, kindly be like, hey, like, this is what that means, or this is how we do things. And that's okay. That's okay, because it is your social media, it's your program social media. You guys get to decide what is best for you. So back to our social media content calendar template. As you can see, we have our, 5 or 6 social media channels here. Probably are not going to be using LinkedIn or TikTok as much. If you can, great. If not, no worries. Twitter is probably, and I don't know why, again, this is literally not what we use. This is just an example, but Twitter is probably going to be the most active social media platform that you use, just because we're in the esports and gaming scene. But as you can see, it's super basic. Day of the week number, and then the topic, and then the caption, who's posting. So if there's multiple people posting, it's really good to, have people informed what's going on. And then, the image or whatever. I'm just reading the chat. Okay, no worries. So this is good. And basically, it's also great for laying things out because, if you think about it, you're like, okay, if I want to post a minimum of once per day, that's 30 posts a month, and that might be overwhelming to think about, but you're like, wait, let me use a content calendar, be like, okay, boom. If I want to do a minimum of 1 post per day from our account, let's do Meme Monday. I liked that idea because Meme Monday starts with M. Pretty cool. The play on words or whatever. Obviously, memes are going to be going left and right. So if you want to use more memes, I'm not saying you only have to use one meme. By all means, use more memes. But Meme Monday, if all else fails and we don't have anything scheduled for that day, cool. We'll have a Meme Monday post and I'll post that. So we'll do that for every Monday. Boom, we have every single Monday done. We only need 6 more posts for our minimum count. Trivia poll Tuesday. So Twitter fleets, you can use that, or you can use Twitter to literally be like a poll. What is your favorite game? Something simple like that. That's not necessarily engaging your an esports question, but it's more engaging that casual audience, because typically, and again, this is going to vary, but for us at UTD, our esports program is also literally designed, and one of our mission goals is to connect the casual gamers on campus. So we can't be tweeting about all these VODs and all these, play of the games, because someone's going to be coming on and they're like, what is this? Like, what is the game? Tailoring your content for that other type of audience is great too. And then, a takeover Thursday would be cool on Instagram stories. If you're doing something as simple as, playing a game or a match, pop out your phone and then be like, okay, cool. Like, here's an Instagram story or a boomerang, things like that. I would literally take so many Instagram stories and I would easily be able to apply that to our program account. And then Saturday, Sunday, if that's game days, boom, there you go. So that is the basic of a content calendar. Again, we're going to be making an actual template that's designed for esports programs on our website very soon. So stay tuned for that. Scheduling posts automatically. Yes, you will definitely want to have this. It's typically not as common that I do use this for esports, but maybe other things, just because we're right now during COVID, like, we don't actually see each other in person. We don't have pictures in person, so we're not really using the Instagram feature. And then Twitter, sure. But if you do want to schedule posts automatically, buffer.com, great website. Love it. I think you can schedule, 10 to 30 posts in advance, so that's just at a time. Free. Cool. Hootsuite, they do have a premium plan, but I think they have a free plan. They have a free plan too, but they just limited it. So buffer.com will have some more features. Again, finding also, programs and stuff like that, or not, programs and services that also track analytics, so you can make data-driven decisions, is going to be great too. So, explore out there. Please don't try and pay $99 for Sprout Social a month, because you don't need that. Maybe you could convince your university to get a enterprise license and then be like, hey, like, can we get added to that too? That'd be a good alternative. Any questions so far? Just identity crisis happening in the text chat channel. I'm so sorry. It's no worries. Hey, look, it happens to the best of us, and we'll be here to support you. Okay. How often should I be posting? Again, you want to be active on social media because the esports and gaming scene move like dog years. If you're literally not active for a week, maybe that's fine because, you know, times right now are very virtual and whatnot. But if you're not active for a month, people might forget you. I know that can be also a challenge during the summer because you're not probably practicing and you got to think of like things to do because we've done that. And think of it, it's like retention. Like you take a break, winter break, you don't want to come back to school and get back into the grind of things and study and whatnot because your brain's not used to it. It's the same type of psychology. People want to, you know, see regular content. They want to, you know when are you posting? Are you posting a YouTube video every Saturday, or really just establishing that is good? So how often should you post? This is up to you. My personal suggestion is at least once a day. So that's literally, again, 7 tweets, and I would not be doing 7 Instagram posts because Instagram's more of an image platform versus a graphic platform, but at least 7 tweets per day, and at least 7 messages in your Discord. What's the best way to track social media stats? So, good. I'm glad you asked. I really wish I could have gone into that more into this too, but if there's questions like this and you guys are like, hey, like I want to know more about social media, happy to do another event. Best way to track social media stats is going to analytics.twitter.com. So, I'll probably do a follow-up on this, but you'll have the VOD to this recording too. Analytics.twitter.com is great for Twitter. Business.facebook.com. Facebook owns Instagram, if you didn't know that. And there's a great analytic like business studio. Also, just make sure on Instagram for your program, make sure that's set to a business account so that way it can track analytics too. TikTok has a fantastic analytics dashboard. And then there's also, you know, external analytics. You know, you can use Social Blade to track your YouTube. You can use that to also track competitors. Like, how are they doing? If you really want to go to that point, it's not necessarily a competition in the collegiate esports scene. I kind of see it more as like collaboration, but in the pro scene, definitely people are like, oh, like let's have whatever. You get the point. Social Blade is great for also tracking and comparing for other accounts as well. And then there's also other sites like that just show like trending topics. You can use like Google Trends to see, you know, what are things people are talking about. Like WandaVision came out, you're like, oh, WandaVision, like there's definitely going to be memes that come out. So having that in the back of your brain that's, you know, rotating, not 24/7, but you see a meme come out and you're like, okay, let's use that meme. So it's really about, you know, staying in. That's really what analytics are, is like, you know, what content is relevant, what content is working. And that way you can do data-driven decisions. And we'll actually get into some more analytics too in our sponsorship deck part. But anyways, we'll be moving on. So again, how often should you be posting? This is as good as, you know, tweeting one simple tweet a day. Give me 1 second, I have one message. Okay, I have to ignore it for now. I'm so sorry, Ashley, if you're in this channel. Anyways, it could be as simple as 1 tweet per day, but again, you want to be posting more often because that's how you're going to be growing. I hope you guys can see everything because my computer decided to black screen my second monitor, but I think we're fine. We're still going strong. Okay, perfect. Thank you. But something to really remember when you're wanting to post more often is quality over quantity. You do not want to be sacrificing your program's brand identity and reputation for just extra tweets or something that may go viral because maybe university administration doesn't like that, or maybe you're doing something too fast, you misspell something and someone's not happy up above. You gotta be careful. So, easy content ideas, Meme Monday, Athlete Takeover, Instagram stories of practicing, answering questions of the day, down bad game day posts. Something that we have been experimenting with UTD is if we lose, well, obviously I don't want to be making a graphic that we lost. Like, how fun is that? Like, I'm spending time making a graphic that we lost. Instead, we use TikToks, and we have some of our athletes make TikToks, and it's the down bad stuff. And maybe I can throw in some. I'm afraid to open another program on my computer because maybe it'll crash, but we'll just say, like, I'll share some examples later and you guys can ask me, but, you know, just like the funny TikToks that are just sad and playing sad music or whatever. So things like that you can really experiment with on posting more on your account. When it comes to, this is a question from the chat, When it comes to advertising events, should you post flyers and such on Instagram or have them on stories? Yes. So, okay, we're in a weird time right now. If you have photos, great. Try to use photos as much as possible because humans are drawn to eyes and drawn to other people's faces on advertisements because it doesn't look like an advertisement and it comes off as a personality. People are not going to want to see advertisements. They're not going to care, especially the people that are not gamers, that are not a part of your scene, but maybe they see it in their explore page or whatever, because you want to target as many people as you can. So when it comes to Instagram specifically, especially with the algorithm too, you should be using images. Less text, the better. We honestly we stuck to just images for a long time, and then COVID hit and we're like, we don't have photos anymore. So we're just using graphics or posting less frequently. So if you can, pictures. If not, graphics are fine too. Instagram stories are perfect for graphics. Please, yes, use graphics on there. You can do both places. Again, it's really about thinking what is best for you. If it's something that's coming up, sure, an Instagram post is good. If it's something that's happening today and you're like, crap, I forgot to post, maybe don't post an Instagram post. Just you do a story. Again, you can also play with Reels. You can play with Instagram TV for those longer videos and whatnot. But yes, also look into print advertisement or digital signage on your campus. That is a resource some people don't know of, and I actually discovered that like halfway through my freshman year, and I was like, wait, we can flood the other screens on campus with esports stuff, say less. So I did that. Any other questions currently? Cool stuff. I'm so glad I'm good at explaining these things, and you guys are geniuses now. Yes, that is the goal. Yes. Okay, cool. So moving. Oh, is that a question? No. Okay, no worries. Oh, thank you. Okay. So, which platforms should you be focusing on? I'm gonna give you the rundown of my personal opinion because do not be exhausting all of your energy on every single platform, especially when you're starting out young. Guys, things are not going to be really relevant on Facebook because that is not where all the gamers are. Think about it. Where is your audience? So, which platforms should you be focusing on as an esports program and, building your audience, especially at the beginning, because it may be just one person and you don't want to use all your bandwidth on all these other platforms. It's not going to be good. It's better to just stick to 1 to 2 platforms and kick it there, and then spread yourself thin and not do so well on all these other platforms. So first priority, Twitter and Discord. So I put Discord in asterisks because it's kind of like social media. It's not just be active on there. Twitter, home base for esports and gaming. Definitely use that as much as you can. Second priority, I would say, is Instagram. And then if you want to do some spicy content or some video content, definitely do TikTok and Instagram Reels. TikTok is an interesting platform, and so is Instagram Reels, because TikTok itself, by default, is something that is always not defaulted to your people you're following, but always to discovery. So I've seen, a few of my TikToks that are really weird about esports, or, just walking into the esports room and doing a funny meme, get like 500,000 views. And we have not gotten 500,000 views on anything else. So kind of sad we didn't get 500,000 views on our esports vlogs that I put hours in. But I guess if a TikTok, on my personal account about our esports program gets a lot of views, that's a win. So it's really experimenting and seeing what works best for you, and it's just having a healthy balance. Third priority, YouTube. I hate video editing, but it's fun. It just takes so much time. So if you can, do YouTube. Try to put VODs from your Twitch on there, because the VODs will go away soon. They're only on Twitch for a limited time, so that's easy content. Maybe put vlogging. I love vlogging. I don't really see a lot of vlogging content in the collegiate esports scene, and we should do more. But also, if someone else isn't doing it and you only see like a few people doing it in that scene, maybe that's a great way to easily tackle or take advantage of that. So and then fourth priority, Facebook and LinkedIn. Please do not be posting memes on LinkedIn. It is not Twitter. Bad. Free real estate. Exactly. So if it's a meme that is very viral right now and not a lot of people are using it, leverage that. Okay, take it for advantage, because that is exactly what you want to do to get more followers, or have just be creative, unique, etc. So for us, we do vlog content. I love vlog content. If you're comfortable with that, great. If not, no worries, totally fine. Again, LinkedIn, please do not be posting memes on there. That's more of a professional development platform. Really what we do on LinkedIn is share some of our virtual programming that's happening, or share some of our, brand kits and, sponsorship stuff. It's really about determining what the audience is. But I will say this too. You personally can definitely share a lot of the things that you're working on professionally for your esports program on LinkedIn. I don't have much going on that I can say, like, outside of esports that I could post on LinkedIn, but with, Evil Geniuses, with this workshop, with, what I'm creating graphic-wise, photography-wise for esports program, social media-wise, that is literally skills that are applied to every other industry and to yourself. So post that on LinkedIn, because that's great content and employers will love that. And then, again, just recognizing, don't post a cringy meme on there, because probably won't do well. But don't be robotic, be yourself and use your best judgment of what is best for you. Again, treat Discord like a social media channel when it comes to updating your community. We typically update Discord first for our program of like, hey, we won, or hey, we lost, or hey, we're live right now. And then we go to Twitter. And then, again, even though if you're not using YouTube, or if you're not using TikTok or Facebook, please just go ahead and claim your handles, because I do know, I will say, say you literally become, I don't know, the D1 program, and someone else has that handle and they're active, chances are you can't just like ask like Twitter and be like, hey, like they're not active, can I get that username? You can do that. I actually had an instance where someone had UTD Esports on Twitter, and literally within 2 or 3 weeks of our program being established, I did have the domain utdesports.com, so it can be weird right now because I think things have changed since then, but typically if a username is inactive and you have the .com domain and you have the same username on other platforms, you can request to get that username, like yoink it. If they're active, then that's a whole different scenario, and there might be the point where like, an expensive company like Google, never had Google on Twitter, pays millions of dollars just to get their username. So it's literally going to be super simple. Please just get your username if you can early. Okay, engagement is key. I want you guys to say this in your head. Engagement is key. You're not just using Twitter like a bot that's automatically updating, hey, like we won, or hey, we lost, because that's pointless. Like, yes, I get it. It's great for a feed, but it takes the social aspect out of social media, and you sound robotic. You sound like a company. You don't sound like a personality. Put the social in social media, because social media is really about more being social than it is just updates and score matches, because someone would just visit your website or read your weekly newsletter if that was the case. They want to have a conversation with you. If someone replies to your account and it's in a good way and you can reply appropriately, please reply to them. We have a thing where we try to reply to we reply to every single person that messages us, that replies to our tweet. Quoted tweets, please don't be stingy with retweeting content that's good about your program or someone that's quote tweeting. I'm very generous with that, and that's great, because say someone, we'll say for my workshop, someone quote tweets my workshop tweet and says something, thank you for doing that. I will thank them in a sense of quote, like retweeting that back. But, and again, if you think about it, if someone's quoting your tweet and you retweet that, that's you putting your tweet in other people's timelines again. So you just have to think about that and be engaging with your audience, because if someone tweets at you and they don't get a response, they're going to come to the conclusion like, A, they don't really check their social media often, or B, it's not worth my time talking to you. I don't have conversations with, a brand that doesn't, talk to their followers back. And again, not every single account is going to be like, the large accounts are going to be responding to everyone, but try to, because at this size, you definitely can. It's definitely feasible. And again, this is where your brand voice comes in serious play, because treat these Twitter conversations like real life combos, but from that fictional character, from that brand voice. Any questions on engagement?
I have a question. So you mentioned like not prioritizing Facebook very heavily.
Yes.
We've actually seen a lot of success with our Facebook pages because a lot of our upper administration is only on Facebook. And so like in order to win over legitimizing our program and kind of getting in front of the people with the paychecks,
Yes.
our Facebook has actually been the most successful. So what's kind of your take on that approach?
It's different for every single like university. I think that's fantastic, and if that's the case, put a lot of force to there, because you not only were successful in realizing like, hey, like our things are doing better here, but you were able to establish why and establish that audience, and you can use that to your leverage, because maybe you're putting extra content and extra focus there, and your university administration's loving that, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're doing so many things, that's great, do that. It is going to be different for other people. I think for us at UTD, our university administration aren't on social media. I know our vice president's on Instagram, so we do definitely try to post things there. But he's definitely active on Twitter. So when the vice president of the university or the athletic director likes our tweet or something like that, and they reply to us, we're definitely going to be showing extra love and extra energy to them, because that makes them happy, and that's great, and that's exactly what you should be doing. So by all means, it's going to be different, and definitely put your energy where your audience is. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Perfect. Any other questions on engagement or platforms? Cool. Okay. Engagement is serious. So again, be engaging with people, having conversations, etc. Athletes and personal brands. I love this part too. So not only can you start scheming how to grow your program's social media channels, but you can literally apply these tips to, say you are in charge of running your other club's social media, or you're wanting to grow your own personal brand. Take these habits and do the exact same for your own individual selves, and encourage your athletes to literally just make a Twitter. We had a day for UTD where I was like, guys, I'm going to teach you guys how to make a Twitter and a LinkedIn. And I was able to make a lot of new Twitter accounts for people that have never used the platform before. Social media is not going away, and especially if you want to get in the scene, having that is going to help a lot. So why? Obviously, you're going to have cool championship titles. You're going to have cool things happen. You can literally not put in so much work on your own personal brand, but simply just retweet that. Associate yourself with your program, because that way when your program succeeds, you succeed, and you are able to get the credit for the work that you do. So again, start encouraging them on your Twitter account. You can start interacting with them too. Like if your athletes are cool with it, put them in meme content. Ask them like, hey, can you make this cringy meme that will be funny and be a part of our brand voice? That's really cool. Doing media days and whatnot is great. So it's basically, instead of, just your account talking, you can have your athletes or your 50 athletes or your 100 of content creators for your program also sharing, that brand voice, or also, hyping things up. Because again, things are very different when you as an individual are tweeting and still your program is tweeting, because one, at the end of the day, even though it acts like a personality, is still a team account. It's still a company account, and it's just going to be different. It's going to have different audiences. Think it like that. I love personal branding. So what is personal branding? Glad you guys asked. Personal branding, think of it as your own professional brand for just you. You can be as creative as you like, and it's literally what you are representing, or what is representing you, as I would say. And you'll definitely want to practice some good habits on social media. So don't be tweeting out random stuff, because employers, future opportunities, and companies are always on social media, especially in the esports and gaming scene. So represent yourself as you'd like. You can get fancy with establishing your own username. So I use the same username and website, whatever, for my website and social medias. You can have a personal website, personal brand logo, things like that. Especially for you guys here, because typically most people in here, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are not the athletes. We're not focusing on necessarily the competitive side on the industry. We're focusing on yourself. And you definitely see content creators having their personal brand, but I want to see more people that are working in the creative scene have a personal brand too, because that's how you market yourself to employers. I literally have been told, like, oh my gosh, like, being able to, comprise your portfolio. It's like a portfolio. Personal brand is like an always living and always interacting portfolio of yourself, because when someone sees maybe this logo, they're like, oh, that's Aaberg. Or like, you know, when I have a YouTube video, I have like my own brand, just like you would have your own logo for your esports program, slapping that on everything. I do the exact same with mine. And I've had instances where that does help leverage job opportunities. Are there any questions on personal brand? I love personal brand.
Yeah, actually, I have a really quick question.
Yes.
How would you like start a professional personal brand?
Sure thing.
Where like you're starting from ground zero.
So, what do you want to be called? Is it going to be your username? Or you can use your actual full name, but again, respect your privacy, do whatever you're comfortable with, and stick with it. For me, I have literally been called Aaberg Tiger Rar when people don't know my last name on campus IRL. Like, I literally had someone shout my name in the student union freshman year, and I was not used to that, and I cringed. But hey, look, you know what? It has it's pluses, it has its, like, consequences, I guess, or whatever, but I was like, okay, cool, sure. Make fun of me, but, you know, it's a personal brand, and at the end of the day, you have to determine, okay, you can use your name, probably username, or you can use an alias online. Think of it kind of like, I guess, a celebrity name. What are you going to be known by? This is important. Having that, again, consistent could be how people look you up on LinkedIn, on Google, on Twitter. How are people going to discover you? So have fun with your alias and be creative. I will say, maybe stay away from things that are trademarked. So maybe, I don't know, Luke Skywalker is probably not the best username to take, or, you know, something like that, just in case you do come to the point where if you're trademarking your personal brand, or, you know, there's other conflicts of interest and someone tries to search you up but goes to a Luke Skywalker fan page. Just think of that. See what, there is this website, I wish I included this. There's this website called Name Checker. You can check, you put in a username, it'll check if it's available on every single like 50 social media platforms like Pinterest, TikTok, whatever. So try to use that. But yeah, when it comes to your personal brand, you'll kind of take the tips that I talked about in this. What do you want to accomplish? What is your brand voice? What is your name? So that could be your full name, that could be your name and something else. For me, literally, Aaberg Tiger. Tiger is my favorite animal, and the tiger makes rar. I didn't put an extra R because I think someone could impersonate me taking the smaller username. So Tiger R, and then AWR makes rar. That is literally it, and that's been my username. So you can use your childhood username if you'd like. Yep, that is perfect. So literally, it's as simple as that, and then it's sticking with it. I've had so many times where I'm like, oh, my name is kind of cringy, but my friends are like, no, dude, like, that is so common in the scene. Stick with it, because you're going to be happy that you have all those consistent usernames. I mean, if I try to change my username, the pages and pages of, I don't know, articles or whatever built to my username on Google is going to change, and it's not going to work. Also, our university, in their newsletter actually, or like news center, actually refers us also to our usernames, which I think is so cool. And, you know, you'll have your username on a jersey or whatever. So just think of it like that. Hey, buddy, we don't need to talk about that in the text channel. That is not personal branding. That is kind of. It's just, you can have fun on your personal social media. Again, at the end of the day, you don't have to be all full and serious, because you'll see content creators, you know, having fun and doing whatever, which is great. Just be responsible. If it's something that isn't going to offend someone, if it's something that you love and whatnot, then, you know, go for that. I think that is totally fine. And yes, Lil Nas released a song, so yes, I did do a funny tweet. Okay, leave it alone. Was that my personal brand? No. Not necessarily, but you don't have to stick to your personal brand all the time, because it's your personal account. At the end of the day, don't take it too seriously, but don't tweet out something that may be poorly represented. Cool questions. Any other questions on personal brand?
I more so wanted to, well, it's slightly related to personal brand, but how do you find it best to have your players or people in your esports scene interact with your main Twitter more? Like, not necessarily like Air Tiger Raw, but like the UT Dallas Twitter, like, did you like incentivize them, or is like, do you like tell them that it helps build their personal brands to interact? Like, I guess how'd you go about that process?
All of that, because maybe they have no idea what Twitter is, and that is totally possible in this day of age. Can't just assume people know everything. So, sit down one day and have a social media day where you're like, hey guys, we are going to be sitting down during this practice. So you normally come here for practice, but instead we're going to be focused on social media. So you're going to be watching me make a social media, so you might as well do it. And you're not forcing them to make a social media account. You have them be as comfortable as they like, but be like, hey, look, these are the benefits to having a social media. Social media is not going away. It is a great way to leverage opportunities. And I mean, I can speak from experience. If I didn't have social media, I would not be here right now. If you guys didn't have social media, you probably wouldn't be here either, because I use social media to advertise this opportunity and say, it is kind of like a timeline. So it's a great way to connect with people, connect with employers. You can also have fun. You can follow some of your great teams. So maybe if they're not interested in esports after, their time, they're like, hey, you can follow teams. But yes, we do provide some incentives. I know in person, I would give people candy or things like that, or I'd be like, hey, look, we'll do something fun. Or I've always wanted to do a contest where the person that, brings in, I guess, the most fans, or not numerical value, but that interacts with us more, we'll pick 3 people at the end of the semester and give them a new peripheral. So do things that are in your budget, but do things that maybe do incentivize people, because sometimes it can be hard. Don't be so stuck on like, hey, I need every single 25 athletes to have a social media account so I can tag you. I definitely am like that in my head, but I'm not going to be saying that. If I can get 5 people in one day of sitting down and do social media, that's great. 5 people and 2 of them are super active on Twitter. That is great, because they're representing our program in a good way, hopefully. Please establish that. Establish, some sort of social media guidelines and whatnot. Typically, your student code of conduct for the university is going to have that. But, in addition, be like, hey, look, like, you're going to be able to interact with our brand. We'll do more photos of you. We'll put you more. So how we do it at UTD is really as interactive as they want to get. I will say, I literally was at an energy level of 100. I was peppy. I was, super excited about social media. That way, I can get people at a level 0 to at least a level 10 of energy on social media. And it's kind of like a bandwagon effect. If more people are going to be doing it in your program, typically more people are going to follow. You're going to be like, oh, I'm missing out, FOMO. Like, I'll join social media. But you hype it up. Be your own cheerleader on why they should be on social media.
Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions? Cool. Okay, I will move on. I was just reading the chat. Chapter 3. Awesome. Now that you know what a brand is, how to establish your brand and voice, and how to grow it, we're going to be talking about a very important part for your program, marketing your program to sponsors. Why are we putting in all this time? Well, yeah, 1, the reasons I said before, but 2, you can get money, literal actual money, for companies to slap their logo on things, or to just invest in your program. So this is super crucial. This is public info, so I'll say it. Esports, because of, I guess, our stuff the first year, so bravo to me, I guess. Hype yourself up for your successes, but we landed $100,000 sponsorship for the naming rights to our esports room. So we could use that for scholarship. We could use that for expanding the esports room from an alumni of our university, because they saw what we were doing. Think about it like this. Social media, and someone mentioned it earlier on Facebook, social media is how your administration is going to be able to see what you're doing. If you think about it, if social media didn't exist, it's going to be kind of harder to show what are you doing, because social media is in a lot of our daily lives, weekly lives, etc. And it's a great way for you to show what your program is doing. So in this chapter, we're going to be talking about marketing yourself to, and selling your program, in a sense, to potential sponsors and partners. So whether you can land a sponsorship with a company like Razer for peripherals, or a company that wants to pay to build your entire esports arena on campus, congrats. That is awesome. Everything counts. So these are some great tips for landing those sponsorships. Create a sponsorship deck. when you are reaching out to an esports program, or if your university administration is reaching out to you, have it ready. Be proactive. Create a beautiful sponsorship deck. Again, this is where you're going to want to put a lot of time into. And it doesn't have to be super, super fancy, but something that's easily readable, especially to people that don't know what esports is. I think, especially for companies and university administration, a lot of your job is explaining. You're going to have to say over and over, what is esports? Thank you for asking. Esports, and I've done this before, so I kind of know. Esports is the kind of sport of competitive gaming, and it's been on the rise for the past 20 years, and it has typically more peak viewership than the NFL. You say something like that, they're going to be like, wait, what? Like, the NFL's huge. So it's giving them perspective on the industry, and it's being like, okay, cool. Well, there's an audience there. Now I'm interested. Well, why would a university want to bring on an esports team? There has to be a reason. There has to be a return in investment, ROI. So, why your program specifically, why esports, what makes you special. That is what your sponsorship deck is going to do. It's going to show those companies. It's going to show all those people, hey, this is what our program is about. And this is why we're super cool and whatnot. And this is going to be your return on investment. We have, say, 1,000 followers on Twitter. You want to give us, do a giveaway of a peripheral while also giving us 6 headsets. We'll do that. We'll do a giveaway on our Twitter. It'll be branded with your guys' logo, your guys' brand. They'll follow us and you guys. And that's them getting 1,000 people, maybe only 100 people, 10% of your following base, see that, post that you do with that sponsor. That's 100 people that saw about that company or saw that brand that they would have never gotten. So it is that return on investment. I saw a few new people pop in. Feel free to just unmute, ask me questions. If I talk too fast, let me know. I can, explain things more. Or if I say a term that is not familiar, please let me know. So, sponsorship deck. You want to be creative. You want to make this look really pretty. You will want all of your information to be easy to read, because think about it. People's attention spans may not be super high. So you want to be able to be like, hey, this is why we're super cool. Okay. This is your time to brag about your program. This is literally your time to brag about your program. So, start tracking early your social media followers, your Discord server members, those cool, beautiful graphs and stuff like that. That's great. Because all of that data you're going to put on a sponsorship deck. And if you don't have that data for your program specifically because you're new and you're like, hey, this is why you should invest in it, then pull data from online. Pull data about the esports scene as a whole. Pull data about other schools that are doing things. The esports, especially the collegiate scene too, is so collaborative. Literally just ask another person like, hey, can I see your sponsorship deck? Or hey, can I see some of your stats? And if like UTD didn't have esports at the time and we're like, hey, your rival school has esports, are we really going to let them get esports and be better than us? And then they'll be like, oh, you know what? Let's get esports. So think of it like that. Again, this scene is super collaborative. So feel free to ask around this Discord after this of, okay, cool. We went next. Did we? Yeah, we did. Of, stuff, because things like this that we have, we're happy to make this public info. So Game Glow event report. This was a university event. Well, what's the return on investment for us to even do this? Well, we raised $4,600 for the Student Emergency Fund for literally playing video games. How cool is that? People say like, oh, you'll never get money playing games. Well, here you go. Here's data to disprove that. We had almost 500 people tune into the live stream. The live stream was this duration. We actually got the graph from, Twitch has a fantastic dashboard for your live stream. So pull that data. We had, X amount of live viewers. We had unique chatters, Discord joins, total clicks. This is golden for, those companies that, want to sell their products. Like, why would I invest in you? Because you'll, at the end of the day, get people to invest in your company. For esports, this is something we made recently. Tracks our Discord, how often we do events, because, while you may think it's so simple, like, oh, we just do 2 events a month, that's 2 times in a month that you have a lot of students coming to your programming during a time of COVID and virtual, and you're able to access the students. That a company could be like, oh, like, we'll buy your naming rights to your event. Hello. So it's really about thinking, what is this going to be? Is this going to be something that, a company is going to be interested in? Yes, you have to show them why. So Twitch, average viewers, things like that. We even host our traditional sports on our Twitch channel, so that may be something of interest. And then, bounce rate for our emails and whatnot. So yeah, and then our website stats, how many people are visiting our website, all those numbers are what sponsors are going to want. But in addition to just numbers, talk about like, hey, like this is the potential we'll have, this is why, this is the personality I talk about. People are like, oh, by the numbers, UTD is such a small school. Well, hey, cool, yeah. But we have esports, and we've done this. We also have a really cool, diverse community. We also have we're kind of known as a geeky school, a nerdy school. So that kind of information gives these companies a perspective and be like, okay, then that's why I should invest in your program. That was a lot of information. Did you guys, do you have any questions on that? Nope. Okay, cool. No worries. We'll have room for questions at the end. And then again, all this information is going to be publicly accessible because it's a lot of information. But I'm here to answer your guys' questions too, whenever. Okay. Outreach. At the end of the day, there's a saying, something, I don't even know what the saying is, but the loud goat gets the food because they whine a lot. Well, yeah, that's kind of true. Anyways, you should always be proactively outreaching and looking for new sponsorships, partnerships, and collaborative opportunities. Obviously, if you have a current sponsor in peripherals, probably don't look for another sponsor in peripherals, but be like, hey, like who could think about it in the future terms. Sponsorships and things like that are a lot of legal contracts. They take time. So if you already landed 2 sponsorships for this year, well, start the conversations for the sponsorships next year. Start, proactively thinking. You don't want to honestly forget about your sponsors. And that's the same with your university administration. You always want to stay in touch. And no, I'm not saying you should be emailing your university's president or marketing manager at a company 5 times a week and be like, hey. It's about building those relationships. It's having a healthy balance. And again, even if it's not a paid sponsorship, simply building good relationships with brands, with other esports teams, with other individuals. You as an individual want to build good relations with other individuals in the scene. Why? Well, if you're wanting to stay in esports, your friends are going to become coworkers at the end of the day because networking is so huge. And that's the same with your program. If you're known to, get your sponsorship deliveries on time, land these cool things, host good events that are reliable and stuff like that, then you'll have a good reputation for future opportunities. That's pretty much that. Conclusion. So that is basically it. Thank you guys so much for coming. In this interactive workshop, you've learned not only how to build your esports programs, brand and identity and what it is, how to, grow your social media, ways to improve your content and staying organized as an individual and for your program, why engagement is so important, personal branding, how to market your program for potential sponsors, and why it's so important to build good relationships. Now that you have heard all of these things, I want you guys to leave this workshop thinking about goals. How are you going to apply what you've learned tonight, whether that's, establishing your personal brand, whether that's changing your social media usernames, whether that's making a program website, or start data tracking. What are some goals? I want to hear 3 goals, and you can say this in the chat, please. I'll share 3 goals. What are the 3 goals that you're going to achieve in this next week, next month, and next 6 months? You don't have to participate, but I would love to see some people participate. And thank you guys so much for attending. And then also, this is what's happening in next week. So literally at this time, next week, at the same time, same place, I'm going to be going over creating a program website, so why it's so important, and doing a demo on it, so WordPress, and then growing a Discord community, because your Discord community is going to be the home for your esports program. And then if you need to contact me, please contact me. I do not find it annoying if you email me or DM me 5 times. If I don't respond, feel free to spam me. I am fine with that. Literally spam me. Because chances are I might just be busy. I'm not ignoring you. But yeah. Okay, finding a matching username. Great. I love to hear that because it's so important. Say you, I don't know, celebrities. They have so many issues where someone else literally has their .com domain if they have .net, or they have someone else has their handle on Twitter and then impersonation, or people are going to the wrong account. Like, why? You shouldn't have that. posting on socials more consistently, great. Love to hear it, because that's great. Social media is literally going to help, put the name, the reputation for your program out there in the world, because chances are your university administration is not in your Discord, so they're not going to see. Actually, we did have a dean of students join our Discord, and then I was like, oh, they never made it past the verification thing. Maybe I'll DM them. Maybe UTD dean of students is them. Who would know? So I messaged them. I was like, hey, do you need help? But yeah, chances are they're not going to be in your Discord, because it's again, audiences. But maybe they'll be looking at Twitter. Maybe they'll be just Googling about your program, and then Twitter populates. More outreach. Awesome. Great. Love to hear it, because you can be outreaching to other departments on campus. I think for us, we came in at the point of being a competitive team, and we have grown from literally just me to 15 other students in our creative staff that literally help with outreach. We do weekly events. We try to partner with other departments on campus. If you're just a club and maybe you have really good relations with, the School of Art, maybe you can become an official program with them. There's so many opportunities out there. And honestly, it's better to just not be annoying, but just email someone. You never know what the opportunity is if you just, email someone. Because, literally, I took the proactive step to just literally hand our esports coach back freshman year after an event, hey, I know it's esports, but and I also used to spell esports lowercase e capital sports, so that's literally on the resume I handed to him, but we've grown past that. But I literally handed him my resume in person, and it's kind of a weird resume. Actually, I'm pretty sure I can find it. Aaberg Tyrar's resume.pdf. This is literally the resume I handed him, and it's random. What did I do? I put literally me working on a Minecraft server as a community manager on here. And why? Because I was able to grow social media channels for them. I also was paid, but I got to grow social media channels. And I told them, look, if you hire me, I will literally make your program known. I will get involved in student life. And I was able to do that. So it's really marketing yourself, taking that proactive self. So whether that's you individually or you as your program, do that. Please take that extra step. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, because the return is just going to be better typically. Okay. Pokemans said, start to grow personal brand around Collegiate Twitter. I want people to at least be able to say I've seen him before somewhere. Yes, great. That's amazing. So, good luck, my dude. Personally, I plan to find / create also, you guys can unmute, please, by all means, you can unmute, and spark up conversations or ask me or other people stuff. But personally, I plan to find / create, a posting plan that works for me. Great. Love to see it. A content calendar. Love it. In the next month, I plan to reach out more about editing, like you mentioned briefly earlier, as well as sticking to the posting plan. Yes, stick to it. Look, do not get too hard on yourself if you maybe don't. Also, literally in Canva, you can make beautiful things like that. Don't be too hard on yourself if you're stressed out, because again, you as a student come first before your program. Because you're a student, you're paying money for college, and your mental health also. This VOD will be on my YouTube, or the Evil Geniuses YouTube. I'll link it. If not, it'll be somewhere on YouTube. It's probably going to be on my YouTube anyways. So youtube.com/EricTyror. Canva is good. Yes, it's free. I love it. You can make cool stuff. I literally can make everything that I need on Canva. I don't need... And then I can literally play you some music if it doesn't so hype music. Actually, I don't even know if you can hear that, but hype music. I'm glad I was not the only one who has done stuff with Minecraft. Yes, actually, I took that experience and made a university Minecraft server. So Minecraft.twitter.east, yeah, etc. So from my experience, I was actually able to propose to university administration to get an official server for our university. Okay. My PR professor told us recently that we should never be afraid to reach out. Yes, never be afraid to reach out, because you never it's literally the saying of if you you don't know what shots you could miss if you never take it. Something like that. Man, it has something to do with traditional sports and basketball, and I can't even say it. Anyways, you miss
the shot you don't take.
Yes, thank you. You miss all the shots that you don't take. So if that's outreach, that is exactly what that is. Unless you actively tell you're bothering them, yeah, you're probably not bothering people. Literally, if someone spams me 10 times, you're not really bothering me because I'm, I mean, to a point. Again, balance. But you would not be bothering me personally. This week, personal name and identity revamp. Please let me know. Ask me questions throughout this week in this Discord. Or if you want to set up a one-on-one call, I'm happy to help you out with that. Creation of brand assets for Babson Esports. Great. Love it. Realigning all board members on vision and voice. Good. It is so important to even have people that, are not on your social media account to have, be in the loop. Like, hey, what is the vibes that we're giving off for a program? Because if you think about it, the athletes should also kind of have a brand, like, at least know what the brand voice is, so they can maybe represent that in comms or when talking to other people, whatnot. But you also want them to be individuals, so don't be too strict on that. Next month, creation of website and blog. Let me know. We literally have that workshop, so I'll tell you the best ways that I've done with that. Active and consistent posts with tier 1 and 2 platforms. Yes. Have your platform engage with other people that are not just in our scene, but the professional scene, because that's just free exposure if you're just replying. But again, quality over quantity. Utilization of Twitch and YouTube to market our teams. Yes. Member personalities next 6 months. Connections and partnerships with your university administration. Fantastic job. Love that. Honestly, I need to spend more time thinking about the future. Ha ha ha. Yes. Definitely do. Yes. Please use Canva. I literally love it. Like, this was in Canva. Everything I use is in Canva. Like, there's... you guys want to see something cool? Uploads. If I go to, I don't know, like this, like, I'm not tracing some background to be removed. It will literally remove it. So, yeah. Give it a second. Artificial intelligence can be slow, I guess. There you go. Boom. Like, hello? Do you know how long this would have taken to perfectly... And it looks so good. It looks so good. Also, you can resize things. And what's cool about Canva is it tells you the actual dimensions for things. So, sorry, I'll stop talking about Canva, but this is just an example of utilized resources that are out there. I'm building a Discord for work right now. Can't wait for that Discord building session. Yes! Actually, as a Discord partner too, I would love to give you guys some inside scoop on some great ways to build your community, because Discord is such a fabulous platform. There's actually partner programs or community programs with Discord for you to get free merch for literally just throwing events. So, we have like a picture of our mascot literally like holding up a Discord shirt, and that's the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that's like basically the face of the university holding up a Discord shirt. Like, hello, I love that. So yeah.
Eric, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know like UT Dallas has much more forward-thinking faculty than a lot of other programs I've engaged with, and I was wondering what would be like the best way in convincing faculty that our institution has already put money towards esports, but how could you convince them to put money towards esports-related employees / paying students who are currently like creating graphics and stuff for the program and working within the program? And is there data out there that you might be able to share to better educate these upper faculty who aren't too privy to like the esports scene for such growth to occur?
Yeah, no, for sure. So one, I'll say for you specifically, feel free to have them reach out to esports@utdallas.edu or us. If they need someone to like be like, oh, like what is a team. 2, data. We have some data within Genius League that's like public knowledge, such as like like graphs of like opportunities in the industry. Maybe for you can create a pager of like, hey, here is like a list of all the opportunities in the esports industry. If you hire on a student, it's cheaper for you than hiring a full-time. For the price of hiring a full-time staff member, you could hire 5 students or something like that. They're able to, as the university likes to develop students, they're able to develop their professional skills, and they're working these amount of hours. So it just makes sense. So really, it's about, how can I convince them? And so feel free to reach out to me. I'll see what we have, because I know, like, currently, I know we have, like, we definitely have, where is it? Evil Geniuses Designs. I literally have, like, a thing, if this helps, like, literally all the careers in esports. So we do have some few public, like, graphics that you can help. But I think it's really about, bringing that data, kind of like in the sponsorship deck, to convince them.
Yeah. And you said it's publicly accessible?
This, yes, I can get this to you right now.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think we talked earlier this week, so
yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, of course. Where is this? Hello. I love when my files are messy. Any other questions? Please, by all means, feel free to unmute. And if you guys have any feedback of, like, what I could improve or what you liked or didn't like, feel free to let me know. I have a few more things also happening very soon. Yes, how do I keep up with community engagement? Absolutely happy to share that with you. Okay, there you go. Mainly with Discord, yeah, happy to share that. Also, I dropped this in the chat, the esports industry careers. If I find anything else that we have currently, because I'm also the person responsible for making that stuff, I know there's a lot of other public knowledge things, just shoot me a DM about this and I can definitely send it to you. But this is a good graphic of, like, hey, like, esports, like, you just have to be a player to be an esports. Wrong. There's so many more things than just being a player, and this is a few examples, and there's a lot more than that, but I'm adding to it. Cool. Great question. Anything else? What did you guys like most about the workshop? Or any, like, specific topics that you think could be its own workshop? Maybe, like, social media analytics?
Just for me personally, I think that what I benefited most from was when you talked about sponsorships and stuff, and I think that could be its own workshop in itself, because it's one thing to, like, have that brand developed and such, but knowing how to make that brand function when talking to people who are potentially buying into your program, I think could be a really interesting topic to talk about.
That is so funny. I actually did have another, that was actually going to be its own separate thing, but then I put it in this. But with that being said, I'll actually probably look into making an actual own workshop, because not only can you land sponsorships, you can convince university administration. It's literally a game of not debate, but convincing them. It's marketing yourself. So that can be used in its own thing. Sponsorship deck would be great as its own workshop. Yes, I like the
thing I was gonna ask about too with the pitch deck and all that, because with my experience so far, my first time I did one with a quick Google search, somehow actually got HyperX on board.
Yeah,
feel nice about that.
That's good.
I want to find out more about everyone else does it.
Yeah,
there's always ways to make it better.
Let me see if I can drop a few things. Is it on my laptop? I hate that. I definitely have a few statistic things if I can find it. Let's see. Please. Search report. I can't find it, but I will just download literally the thing for you to have. I'll send you this. So this is a few examples of sponsorship decks, so I'll just send you this very quick. But yeah, I definitely think having those things definitely help. Did that answer your question? Let's see, hopefully yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think having a workshop about analytics, yes. Sean is literally our analytics intern, so he would be fantastic for that. Yes. And again, if there's something that I can't answer, there are literally, if you look on the sidebar, 12 other brand ambassadors online right now that are kind of in the same role as me. Except Ashley, she's a full-time but she's still up there. That literally can answer all your questions. We are literally here to help you guys succeed and grow as individuals. So yes. Stonks, yes, I love that. Memes. This is literally what I make for memes too. I just pull it off the internet. Yes. Any other questions, feedback, concerns, ideas, goals?
I just wanted to say I think it's super cool what you guys are doing here. I actually don't go to school, but
Yeah.
it's just like really cool to see esports, like how esports is growing at the ground level for schools
Yeah.
and like all the marketing around it.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think it is literally, if you think it's a big industry right now, it is nowhere compared to technically the expansion of like, you know, traditional sports. So there's huge opportunity and growth if you can convince universities and be like, look, you should be one of the few that get on this quick, because you establish something quick. It's going to be so much better. It's, I guess, like a stock market, maybe.
It's
I
the
don't know.
Wild West.
Yes, the Wild West. Can this stop playing this song? Thank you. I love the song, but I'm trying to just make it full screen without blasting my ears. But yes, I am going to end the recording, so I'm just going to say an outro. But thank you guys so much for attending this first ever workshop. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me in the Genius League. That's discord.gg/Genius League, or here are my social medias and contact information. And I'll see you guys in the next workshop. Bye.